Good afternoon. My name is Sherry Sutphin, and I'm the Special Magistrate for Seminole County. We're going to go ahead and get started with our hearings today. You may have an agenda in front of you. Just bear with us. We don't necessarily call in the order of the agenda, but I assure you, you will be called. Make sure that you do get with the county to let them know you're here if you have not done so already. The way the process works is you will be brought up to the table in front of me. The county will present its case first. It will present its witnesses, testimony, evidence that it has. You will have the opportunity to ask questions of the county. This is a rather informal process, but you can't present any witnesses or evidence of your own until it's your turn to go. Once the county has closed its case, it will then be your opportunity to present any witnesses or evidence or testimony that you have. And after both sides have closed, I'll make a decision here today as to whether you are in violation. If you are in violation, you'll be given an amount of time to come into compliance. And if you fail to come into compliance in that time period, then you stand to have a penalty of up to $250 a day imposed for a first-time violation and up to $500 a day for a repeat violation. So we are going to go ahead and get started, and we'll start with case number 2352, CESN, Jean San Clemente and Desiree Castellanos.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi,
Good afternoon.
sir. Good afternoon. And you're Mr. San Clemente?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Now, can I have you both raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector with Seminole County Building. In regards to case number 2352, Jean Saclemente and Desiree Castellano for 2997 Boland Drive, Oviedo, Seminole County, Florida, violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation, installation of a fence without the required permit. This is a copy of our screen for the case summary showing initial inspection was done on 2/22 of 23. Notice to the respondent went out on 2/27 of 23, given compliance dates and extension of 3/13/23, 4/13 of 23, and also the follow-up visits online, visits in person, and the follow-up inspections via computer. Results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's screen showing that Jean Saclemente and Desiree Castellano is the property owner. These are copies of postings of hearings and notice on the property that was done on 3/4 of 24. And again, these were posted hearings for the notice of the property at 3/4/24 as well. This is a picture of the fence that is in description here. And another picture of the fence that was taken on 4/26 of 23. And again, the fence on 3/13 of 24. This is a copy showing that the permit was in PC status and still is currently in PC status right now for plan review. We waited for an actual copy of the permit application that when it came in on 2/21 of 23. And this is a copy of the variance which actually finally was approved. And at this point in time, the suggestion is Seminole County Chapter 40, Appendix A regarding the permitting process, that this is what they're in violation of. The recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in the case number 2352 CESM. It's determined that the respondents are the record owner of the property located at 2997 Boland Drive, Oviedo in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, is in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further recommends that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before May 8th of 2024 In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permit for the cited violation. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated. After compliance, the respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Would you like to submit the electronic case file into the record?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any objection to the electronic case file that's been provided to you and shown on the screen being being submitted into the record?
No.
Okay. And Ms. Hathaway, have you had any kind of contact with the property owner?
I talked to him one time in person. I was posting the property, and he was out there, and I asked him if he wanted me to hand it to him or he wanted me to post the property, and that was the only time that I had ever spoken with him.
So they haven't tried to contact you when they received notices related
No,
to?
ma'am.
Okay. But there is, in fact, now a variance that's been approved?
It's been approved. We're waiting on one thing, and that's to have that letter sent to us. And for the permit, we don't do that for the client. They have to do it themselves.
Okay, and then that triggers the processing of the application that's already been submitted for the building
Then
permit?
the application, at that point in time, he can pay for the permit and have the permit issued, which
Okay.
would clear up the violation.
Okay. So do you understand what is needed at this point?
Sounds like just a variance that was approved, which I have here. I thought, so I went in here and I presented the case for the variance and it was approved. I thought that was it and I was done.
Okay.
So I have it here if you need it. That's all.
It's not an owner builder, correct? You have a contractor?
So they said I had to apply for the variance as an owner, which I
Correct.
did.
You did?
Yes. And I do have a fence company, but they're not answering any of my calls or anything. They're not responding to the corrections. Like I said, I have the variance here. I'm not sure what else I need to do.
The contractor can actually submit it for us, but if he's not going to do that, you may have to go in and do a change of contractor to an owner builder.
Okay.
But see the
So-
front desk before you leave.
Sure.
So
That's fine.
do you believe that you can, what the county has asked for is that you be given till May 8th?
Okay.
Do you think you can have all of that completed with respect to the permit by May 8th?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it sounds like all I have to do is submit this to the front desk
But also.
and be the owner.
Potentially, yes, depending, okay. So, and you'll need, where to go to get with them to do that?
I do not.
Right outside these doors,
Okay.
there's another set of double doors. You can walk in there to the permitting counter, explain to them your situation, that you need to do a change of contractor, and see what you can do to get that handled, and they will walk you through the process.
Okay, I'll do that as soon as I finish here.
Good deal.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and find that you were properly noticed to be here. You are, in fact, the property owner. You participated in the hearing here today, and that you currently are, as the property sits, in violation of Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1 of the Seminole County Code. I'm going to order that you bring the property into compliance no later than 8 a.m. on May 8th, 2024, or a fine of $100 a day will be imposed for each and every day thereafter that the violation remains.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next case is 2369 CESM Gerald Williams.
How you doing?
I'm well, how are you?
All right.
Okay, if you'll go ahead and raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Seminole County Building Division Inspector for Seminole County. Going forward with record 2369 CESM Gerald Williams at 131 Leon Street, Altamont Springs, Florida, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation: installation of a shed, exterior renovations to include a new roof, lath, stucco, windows without the required permits. This is a copy of our inspection sheet here that shows the initial inspection that was done on 10/3 of '23, given a notice to the respondent the same date, given compliance dates of 10/17/23, 11/9/23, and 1/26 of '24. Follow-up inspections that you can see in person, also inspections via computer. The results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's card showing that Gerald Williams is the property holder. These are a copy of a posting that was done on 3/4 of '24. This is also a photo of the violation that remains on 10/3 of '23 and also of 10/26 of '23. The unpermitted structure that was taken on 10/26 of '23. Photos of the exterior renovations, unpermitted structure in the backyard that was also taken on 1/9 of '24. The violation remains on the property still at 3/13/24. This is a copy of the permit screen showing that there's no permits that's ever been applied for. This is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permitting process. The recommendation based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case, 2369 CESM, it's determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 131 Leon Street, Altamont Springs in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, is in possession and control of the property, and is a violation of Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It's further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before May 8th of 2024. In order to correct that violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or are repeated after compliance. The respondent must also contact the inspector to verify this compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Hathaway. Have you had any contact with the property owner?
I've only spoke one time in the very beginning. I stopped by yesterday to make sure he was aware of the hearing. He wasn't there. There were several people in the front yard, and I turned back around, rolled the window down to ask if any of them were the owner of the property. They said he had just gone to the store, and I asked them to please hand him my card and have him call me.
And
That's
you didn't
it.
hear anything? Okay.
No.
Would you like to submit the electronic case file into the record?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any objection to the electronic case file that's been given to you and been shown, submitted into the record?
Yes, ma'am. I got a question. You said the shed and then you mentioned stucco. What do you mean? Because the shed wasn't never stucco.
No, we were called out there originally for a shed, and as we were following up with the shed that is in the backyard where you can see on the middle picture there, as we were following up out there, we were noticing that there are construction in front of our eyes going on at the same time. But I couldn't catch anybody working, so the house became stuccoed. New windows went in. You can see the drywall bucket. It looks like possible interior renovations maybe going on inside the house.
No, ma'am, that's my fishing bucket. I go
Okay.
fishing.
Okay.
But that house been like that before I purchased it. The
Okay.
house don't have renovation to it.
Okay, wait a second. I've
The
asked,
shed does.
sir, I've asked if you have any objection to the document that's in front of you and the that have been shown up here being submitted into the record.
I'm still lost. I'm new to this. I'm lost.
Okay, so the officer has asked that this packet of information that she has been given, that she has given to you and also given to me and shown on the screen, that it be made part of the file with respect to this matter that's before me. Do you have a problem with that happening?
I'm still lost right now, man. I'm sorry.
So,
You have to break it down to explain it to me because I'm lost right now.
okay, so what has been presented on the screen, what's been provided to you that's in front of you
Yes.
that you're looking through right now, and what I have
Yes.
is what the officer is saying makes her case. all of the documents that are in this.
No.
And so she has asked to submit them to me, for my consideration, what I've just viewed, what you've viewed, and whether those can be submitted. So I'm asking you on the record if you have a problem with what she is asking me to accept these documents.
I don't
Can
understand.
I explain?
Yes.
Okay, originally I came out there for the shed that's going up in the backyard. We
Yes.
kept getting calls from neighbors back there that there were people trespassing through. When I went back there, probably on my third time, I noticed that work was going on to the house, although workers were not present. So I looked at it, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this house is transforming right before my eyes. And I'm showing you as the current record.
And when was his purchase? When did you purchase the property?
22.
Okay. So again, I'm going to ask, and this time I'm just going to rule if you still don't understand. The packet of information that you have in front of you that you're looking at, do you have an objection to it being submitted into the record for this proceeding?
Yes, I have objection.
Okay, your objection is noted, and I'm going to accept the electronic document into the record.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. So do you have anything else that you want to explain to him?
I don't have anything else.
Okay.
ma'am.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I'm saying that the house wasn't, the shed wasn't there, but the house was already done. She's saying more construction been done to the house and a bucket in there. No, that's my fishing bucket where I keep my fish and all my stuff in. That's a fishing bucket.
No,
It's not a
sir.
working bucket.
No, sir, that's not what she said. She said it appears to be a working bucket. You clarified that it was not, but what she did say is she had gone out there and watched in front of her eyes construction being completed, and as she went out on multiple times, there were changes to the home, including the stucco that was not there originally, and new windows,
And roof.
and a roof.
Ma'am, that stuff been there. That
Since-
roof, that roof, that stucco, that house been like that. That shed haven't been there.
Okay, but tell me, when you bought the house, it was fresh stucco like that, not
Yes, that
painted?
house was already done. It's a family house. It was passed down. That house was already done.
Done?
The shed,
No, done as in existing? I get
how
that.
it is now.
With the gray unpainted stucco?
Yes,
And you bought it in 2022?
yes.
Okay, Ms. Hathaway,
I
what,
didn't buy it. It was passed down.
okay. When you say that you were on site and you saw things happening in front of you, what could you explain to me changes from one visit versus the next visit?
Well, paying attention to the house, sometimes you miss the forest through the trees. When I looked up and realized I've got a shed in the backyard, however, we've got a brand-new roof that just went on. The windows appear to be new, and the stucco appears to be new, instead of just looking for a shed in the backyard. But I couldn't catch present workers working on anything.
So there weren't, you went one time and there were changes the next time?
Modifications that were being made to the house, correct?
So you did witness
Yes. I
being
did see
there
that.
one date and the change wasn't there, then
Correct.
going back the next date and the change was there?
That is correct.
Can you tell me how the sequence of how that occurred?
The sequence was in the very last photo that I had there when I saw the stucco being applied, and I said, oh, we need to modify this because this is not correct. This is not how this house looked before. It was a wooden structure in the past. It wasn't the first time I've been in the neighborhood.
The house always been brick.
I don't see brick on there.
That house always been brick.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the property appraiser card now.
Right. They won't work at the same time. Can you go back to the property appraiser card? Oh, okay. Well, we go from a flat roof to a pitch roof.
Oh, I see it in the picture.
In the picture, yes, ma'am.
And that picture was taken in 2022.
Correct.
That's when I got the house in 2022.
Okay, but it had a flat roof in 2022.
That's when I got the house in 2022.
Okay, and it had a flat roof in 2022. It doesn't anymore.
I got it at the end of 22, ma'am.
What date?
Oh my God. I can't tell you exactly what day it was, but that house been done already.
But there would have been a deed that transferred ownership to
Deed
you.
11/2 of 23, or 2003.
Yeah, okay. In his name?
It was passed to me in
The
2002.
warranty deed.
But in his name.
We'd have to look it up. That's when I noticed from going, I'm looking at a picture to go out there to the property and the transformation of the roof and the stucco. And of course, the white windows that are in there that were not probably original to the property.
Mr. Pike, do you have something you want to add? Let me go ahead and swear you in. If you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
Bob Pike, building official, Seminole County. If there's violations on the premises and you purchased the property, as you say, you inherited those problems.
I understand, but
Okay.
I didn't get to say that I'm willing to fix whatever I need to fix
Okay,
to keep it
perfect.
going on. I'm willing to
Perfect.
do whatever it is to get everything together.
Perfect.
I'm willing.
Okay, so,
I'm not denying that. I want it up to par.
okay, so you have to understand, though, from my perspective, I'm trying to talk to you through this, and you're telling me that you acquired it with these things, and so if, you know, if you're willing to make the fixes, what they're telling you
If it
is,
have to be code to fix it up to get to where I wanted it, I do wanted it. Ma'am, I'm a single parent. I got 2 kids live with me at home.
okay,
And I ain't got money like that to keep putting in that house. I don't have it.
okay. So I'm finding from, then I'm going to go ahead and make a ruling unless you have something else you want to add.
No, ma'am. I'm willing to fix whatever I need
Okay.
to fix.
Okay. I'm going to find that you have been properly noticed to be here today, that you are in fact present and have participated in the hearing here today. I'm going to find that based on the property card that I'm looking at from 2022 that's been submitted into evidence, along with the pictures that are reflected in the electronic evidence that's been submitted, that there has been a change in the roof, and there have been changes to the windows, and it looks somewhat like even the size of the windows have changed, and the outside facade of the property has changed as well. All of these things have been done without permits in violation of Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1 of the Seminole County Code. And I'm going to I'm going to order you to bring the property into compliance by 8 a.m. on May 8th, 2024, which means obtaining all the necessary permits for the work that has been done without a permit. And if you do not come to compliance by May 8th, 2024 at 8 a.m., you'll have a fine imposed of $200 a day for each and every day that the violation remains.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Williams, you have my card.
No.
I stopped
got
by
it.
yesterday and handed it to somebody, so I asked them to have them call.
Well, yesterday I left to go to the store, and then I got a phone call. One of my child was
I
acting
just
up
want
at
you to
school.
have it so
But
you
by
can
the time I
call.
got back, wasn't nobody there.
Okay, well, when you take my card, please stay in touch with us so we can work with you to get this done,
Yes, ma'am.
okay?
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Can I get up?
Yep, you're good.
Oh.
Good.
Thank you. Okay, the next case is Hometown Palm Valley LLC, 2370 CESM.
Hi there.
Hi, and can you state your name, please?
Shelley Buwali.
Okay, and can you tell me your affiliation with,
John Nordquist? I don't know.
John Norquist?
Yeah.
What's that?
That's my late husband. He passed away.
Okay, and what's his affiliation with Hometown Palm Valley?
We both
LLC?
lived there. We own the, it's a manufactured home.
It's a tenant. She's in the mobile home park in Palm Valley, over in Oviedo.
Okay, so it's just as a tenant. She's here as the tenant, so you, okay, so.
I own the house.
She owns the house, but they rent the property.
Okay, and is anyone from Hometown Palm Valley here?
No.
Okay. And were they served as well
Yes,
separately?
They were, yes,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
They did not want to be here for the hearing, so they got with Ms. Boulay.
Okay. But they are fully aware that the hearing involves their property as well?
It does, yes, they are.
Okay. Okay, can I swear you in? Yes. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector for Seminole County Building. This is in regards to case number 2370 CESM Shelley Boulay at 3825 Coconut Palm Circle, Oviedo, in Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation, installation of an AC unit without the required permit. This is a picture of our screen showing the initial inspections that went out on 1/23 of 23, given a notice to the respondent on 2/2 of 23, and this came about from a voided permit to verify. Compliance date, was given on 2/2 of 23. Compliance dates and extensions that were on 2/17 of 23, on 4/4 of 23. Follow-up visits, inspections showed the dates prior, or that was there. The follow-up inspections via computer, it also shows the results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser screen showing that Shelley Boulay is the owner of the home. This is a posted hearing notice on property 3/4 of 24. This is photos of the new AC unit that was taken on 2/2 of 23. Photos of the AC unit taken on 2/28 of 23. Photos of the AC unit, again, that was taken on 4/26 of 23. Photos of the AC unit and final letter posted due to the return certified mail that was taken on 5/5 of 23. The AC unit violation that remains on 3/13 of 24. This is a copy of the permit screen showing that no permits have been issued for the violation charged. This is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A permitting process. It is a recommendation based on the testimony and the evidence presented in the case number 2370 CESM that it's determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 3825 Coconut Palm Circle, Oviedo, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, is in possession and control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before May 8th of 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Okay, would you like to submit the electronic case file into the record as evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Do you have any objection to the electronic case file being submitted?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. So, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, so I was in and out of the hospital when my air condition went down, and my son and his wife were staying at the house. And I talked to, I think it was, I'm not sure who pulled the first permit, but I never gave him permission to put a $14,000 air condition in there. But he went ahead and pulled the permit, and he tried to put the air condition in. Guys came, and my daughter-in-law called me, and she said, they're trying to put this air condition in, and I said, no, I'm not buying a $14,000 air condition. And again, I was in and out of the hospital from February of last year till like July. I mean, just with complications. And so my son, while I was in the hospital, said, Mom, I got somebody for $3,000 that's going to put in an air condition for you. Now, I didn't know anything about a permit or that I had to have a permit for it until I got, some letters from you guys. And then I didn't know how to go about getting a permit because I couldn't get a hold of the guy that did put that in, the new air condition in. So, and that's why I showed up today, because I just need some guidance to go and figure out how to fix the problem,
So, has she had any contact with you?
She has talked to my staff members before. She's never reached out to me. I do believe that we would have given her the advice on how to obtain a permit for that.
Okay.
Well, okay.
No, would you like to add something?
Yeah, okay, like I said, I was in and out of the hospital for a great length of time, and they told me that I'd have to get the guy that put the air condition in to pull that permit, which I'm unable to get a hold of him.
Or another contractor.
But I don't understand how can I just get another contractor to come out and pull a permit? That's where I was, I didn't really know what to do.
We have code violations all day long that they hire contractors to come out and finish the work that somebody started that didn't pull a permit.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And no one from the actual property owner has been in contact with you about the issue?
They've called us and told us that's on her. They've got contracts that show some type of an agreement that these people are responsible for their own permits and that they're not going to be liable for it. So not privy to, I can look it up real quick on how those contracts work.
No, the contract isn't with us, or with the county, I mean.
Yeah, I know. I've had several conversations with Palm Valley where you need to make sure she's cited for this because this is her deal, not ours.
Yeah, and they were very nasty with me when they got the letter. They came to my house and started, yelling at me, and I'm like, so they definitely know.
It says right in here that as of 2015, Statute 273 was revised stating that the violations on the resident-owned home are not cited to the landowner. The house located at 3825 Coconut Palm Circle, Florida, 32765 is not owned by Hometown America. It is the responsibility of the resident residing there. So this was a letter that was sent to us February 9th of 2023 to the original inspector who actually wrote up the code case.
I'm looking at the statute right now that they've cited.
Okay.
Which is,
She's got it. She just sent her one.
723.022.
Yes, ma'am. And she can do contractor.
So I just call any random contractor? Okay.
If you can't find the person who did it, then yes, I would call a contractor and let them know what your situation is and
Okay,
speak to them from there.
thank you.
This says a mobile home park owner shall at all times comply with the requirements of the applicable building, housing, and health codes. Okay, the county has asked that you come into compliance by obtaining the building permits by May 8th, 2024. Do you think that that's achievable for you?
I'll try to make it.
Okay. So it is important that you do that, and probably even more important is that you maintain constant contact with Ms. Hathaway or a member of the building department staff to show that you are actively working toward this at all times. And so I'm going to go ahead and order, or find first that you, Shelley Bellotti, were properly noticed to be here as the owner of the mobile home. I'm also going to find that Hometown Palm Valley LLC was properly noticed to be here as the owner of the property, as evidenced by the letter that they provided in response to the notice that they were sent. I'm going to find that Shelley Buali was actually present and participated in the hearing. However, Hometown Palm Valley LLC did not send a representative. I'm going to find the property to be in violation for failure to obtain a necessary permit for the air conditioner unit as required by Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1 of the Seminole County Code. I'm going to order that the property be brought into compliance by May 8th, 2024, and I'm going to enter 2 orders, one against both you as the mobile homeowner and one against the property owner. If the property is not brought into compliance by May 8th, 2024, I'm going to impose a fine of $100 a day against you and $150 a day against the mobile home park owner. Thank you.
Thank you. Will I have a copy of all of that information from today?
Yes, ma'am, that
Okay,
will be
thank-
sent to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, the next case is 2407 CESM, Amanda and Christopher Yeager.
Thank you.
Hello there.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Will you both raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway with Seminole County Building, as Seminole County Building Inspector. Regarding case number 2407 CESM, Amanda and Christopher Yeager at 1480 Markwood Cove, Oviedo, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of violation, installation of an accessory structure and wooden deck without the required permits. This is a picture of the permit screen, or the inspection screen showing the initial inspection happened on 9/11 of '23. Notice to the respondent went out 9/21 of '23. Given a compliance date of 10/5 of '23, 11/6 of '23. Follow-up visit inspections that happened, and also the follow-up visits via computer. Results of the inspection, the violation remained on the property. This is a copy of the picture of the property appraiser's website that shows Amanda and Christopher Yeager as the property owners. It's a copy of the certified return receipt received. These are pictures of an accessory structure and wood deck that's dated on 9/19 of '23. And again, you can barely see the structure that remains out there from 12/18 of '23. Posting of the final letter due to return certified mail dated on 12/18 of '23. Per inspector, 3/13 of '24 was unable to verify the violation. Property is now posted, and due to the growth of vegetation, the structure is no longer visible. Pictures were not obtainable.
Have you had any?
sorry.
I'm sorry.
This is a copy of the permit screen that shows that no permits have been issued to correct the violation. This is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permit process. Recommendation based on the testimony and evidence presented in this case number 2407 CESM is determined that the respondents are the record owner of the property located at 1480 Mirkwood Cove, Oviedo, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further recommends that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violation on or before May 8th of 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondents shall obtain a required permit for the cited violation. If respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Would you like to submit the electronic case file into the record as evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any objection to the electronic case file being submitted? Okay. Have you had any contact?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, so this was a structure that was built by my wife's father 6 years ago, and he's kind of been in and out. I really didn't know the extent of what it was till recently, but I had to go through kind of a protracted unlawful detainer process to make sure that he wasn't able to be on our property anymore. There was a lot of issues there with drug abuse and some other things, and it was becoming not a good thing. So either that domestic or he called you guys, whatever it may be. I talked to a contractor named Barry Johnson who said he came and talked with the county. I don't know that he never had me fill out any paperwork as him being officially hired, but he came back to me and he said the recommendation of the county was a wetland study and then a survey showing where on the property the structure was. I kind of started down that process, and then he kind of disappeared on me a little bit, but I am in contact with Storm Richards, who does the wetland studies, and Robertson Surveying. So next week I've got them working on that so we can verify where it is before we go into the process of getting plans drawn and the permits pulled. I'm a little bit new to this process. Does the county recommend through the surveying process me getting a contractor right away, or waiting till the end and bringing the survey to the county to figure out what we do from that perspective? Does your department work on the concept of the wetland study, or is that a different department in Seminole County?
That's coming out of zoning, and I can't speak for zoning. You have the option of removing the structure
Okay.
or permitting it.
Okay.
That is another option there, but I've never spoken to you, which we could have probably discussed that and put you in the correct person's lap to be able
Yeah.
to answer the questions in order to move you along and into either whatever decision
I
you
definitely
decided.
want to do that now. I've got the money to pick a path of whatever needs to be done, and I want to come into compliance. I put a little bit of trust into Barry Johnson, but like I said, he got really flaky on me after Christmas. So whatever I need to do in contact with you to continue this process, I assume the wetland study and the survey is the best first step, I think, right?
Like I said, I can't speak on that behalf. I can have Rebecca, who is our director. She works in the zoning and planning. I'm going to put it out here for the record. I'm going to be out for the next 6 weeks.
Okay.
So there's going to be another inspector. My phones will roll to him. If you have questions, or my staff here, we'll put you in the proper hands of where you need to be. And Rebecca, do you want to speak on that?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
For the record, Rebecca Hammock, Development Services Director. If you could repeat the specific question related to the zoning compliance?
Like I said, this Barry Johnson had come back and said the first step to getting permitted was to first figure out if the structure was on a wetland and to do the wetland study. and the survey of the structure on my property and where the wetlands are.
Okay.
So that's what I have going on next week. Once I have that survey done, I just need to know what the next step is from that point.
Okay. So once you determine whether the shed is in the wetlands, if it's not within the wetlands, if it is within the wetlands, you'd likely have to move it, or you'd have to mitigate for the wetlands. But there's
Okay.
also, if you're going to not mitigate for the wetlands, you'd need to move the shed outside of the wetlands, and there's also an upland buffer that's required. So I can actually put you in touch with Sarah Hartung. She's our natural resource officer within the planning division.
Okay.
And she might be able to talk to you a little bit more about the wetlands and at least look, so basically on the general maps, it must be showing that there's wetlands on the property. So you're actually getting a wetland delineation to verify that.
And this is what I'm trying to figure out. Obviously, the house that we purchased, a large house that was built in 2006, along with an easement. If that property stood to be on wetlands, I assume all that was built on wetlands to begin with. So I don't, was there maybe a certain year that things were delineated as wetlands, or have they been wetlands for
That could change.
forever?
It can change, but likely so the issue is if they are wetlands and you don't want to go through St. John's to mitigate for the wetlands, and sometimes you can't mitigate depending, but there is a cost to
Yep,
mitigate.
I know.
So if that is the case, if the shed is movable, you may want to move the shed outside of the wetlands. But I can put you in touch with Sarah.
Can I also add
Perfect.
to it as well? Thank you, Rebecca. A lot of times, people will come to us first because we'd be the first step is to permit the thing. And then at that point, we're going to start pointing you in the directions of when you apply for a permit and wetlands are involved, they kick it back to you saying, hey, we need wetlands mitigation, or you're going to have to mitigate for this. We kind of tell you that. They will look at it and do their study when they do their plan review, and then kick it back to tell you what it is that they're waiting for.
I definitely, some of the contractors that I talked to don't even want to touch this because of it. So I'm,
But we can walk you through that process
Okay,
once you start your
perfect.
permitting process, if that's what you choose to do.
okay. Yeah, just some guidance here would be
They,
super
oh,
helpful.
they're great. There's nobody on the county team that doesn't, try to walk you through that process. But we typically would be the first place you would start, so we'd
Okay.
let you know whether or not you needed that.
Okay.
I just can't quote out on zoning rules.
No, but I'm a little concerned that compliance can be achieved by May 8th. I don't think it's possible.
I don't think that, it just depends on how fast they move. We typically have turnaround times fairly well.
But if he needs all of these other
Sure.
things and he's dependent
Sure.
on
He
other
would need to come back in
professionals.
and ask for additional time then.
Yeah, so I think I want to not set him up for failure to start with. But what I need you to do, I understand that you had some situations. I need you to remain in contact with the county at all times. That's something that is really important to me when people come back here. If they've just ignored all of the notices that they've received, it lets me know that you have no desire to fix what you're here for.
I have full desire to fix it. I just don't have a lot of time. That's why it's been trying to find somebody that knows what they're doing through this process.
Okay, and I understand that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you until August 7th to come into compliance.
Thank you.
And you will need to, then that will give you the ability to hire the proper professionals, make sure that if you need to mitigate, you need to move, you need to, whatever you need to do with the various structures. And then if you do not come into compliance, and like I said, if you're talking to them the whole time and you're going through the process and they see you're going through the process, and for some reason, it's not going to even happen by August 7th, then you still come back to the hearing, the compliance hearing on August 8th, and you let us know the progress, let us know where you are, and if they're vouching for you that that is in fact happening, then usually we give additional time because we see that you're trying, because compliance is really what we're ultimately aiming for.
For sure.
Okay, so, and then if you do not come into compliance by August 7th, 2024, I'll impose a fine of $50 a day. But like I said, if you are making progress, then you would ask for more time, and we do that.
Sarah Hartung just walked in, so they might can meet with you outside
Fantastic.
of the meeting.
That would be great.
so.
So you may comply prior to August 7th, but if not, and I'm not giving you August 7th till you, so that you wait till August 1st.
No, definitely no.
Like I said, I've got the survey and the wetland study going on next week. It's just from that point on, if it's a mitigation situation, I just need to figure out how that process works. If something else needs to happen, I need to figure out that process. I assume I can't just go in there with a demo team and pull it down either if it's on a wetland, because that can destroy wetlands.
You may need a permit for that
Yeah.
as well. So-
Because there's probably power ran to it, it looks like,
There's a
out
30
there.
amp line, yeah.
You would need to have a demo permit at that point in time, then you could, after you've had that permit issued, they're gonna give you my card. My card's
Perfect.
gonna go to Jason. My phones will go to Jason, who's the inspector in charge while I'm out. They know everything that's in the office, so they will get you to who you need to speak with if
And
you
is
need to
your
speak with them.
email there too, so that I can?
We
kind of
email
keep track
you
of
about everything. We
Okay.
call you, we email you, we do whatever we need to do.
So I call you, we can,
We can set up emails,
Have some
absolutely. It's a
emails
lot
on
easier than
record.
playing phone tag.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, the next case is 2413 CESM, Leticia Morales.
Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Morales, can you state your affiliation with Leticia Morales, please?
Yes.
You, can,
I'm her brother.
you're her brother? Do we have anything authorizing him to speak on her
I mean,
behalf?
I just talked to her that she had an emergency. That's why she's not here. I came with her the last time, like 8 months ago, for the same problem.
This is
Yeah,
a
it's the
new
first
case.
time. This is the
Yeah.
first time for us.
No, we can.
Maybe in front of a board, like multiple people sitting up here?
No, it was the same office, same everything.
This is the first,
This is a new case. Did you come to a different
I
county?
think this is for the garage. Okay, because the other was for the patio that we did. So that's the second
that's
case.
what the violations are for, correct?
Was we built a patio without permit too?
This is for the garage.
Okay.
Okay, but do you have authorization from
Yes.
your sister to be here?
Yes.
Written authorization?
I mean, I live in a house, that's her house. And
Miss Kyle.
this time she cannot be here because she's in Georgia. So I called her and she's like, that's why I asked her, and I told the other lady too, can I be here for her? She's like, just go in there and tell her, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, so you live in the home?
Yeah, I live in 300 Ridgeway.
Okay. Does the county have an objection to him representing his sister in this matter?
I mean, I told her, I'm like, if I cannot be here, we can set it up for another day.
No, no.
I mean, that's why I'm here, because I want to
Okay.
fix everything.
Okay, so,
We've never spoken to the owner.
okay. I'm going to note for the record that you have, let me go ahead and swear you in first. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to note for the record that you have indicated that you live on the property located at 300 Ridgewood, Fern Park, Florida, and that your sister is the owner and that she's giving you permission to speak on her behalf, although she is not present herself. Okay.
Okay. For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector for Seminole County Building. This is in regards to case number 2413 CESM Leticia Morales at 300 Ridge Road, Fern Park, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation, enclosing a garage without the required permit. This is a picture of the screen of the initial inspection that was done on 7/19 of '23, given a notice to the respondent on the same date, and a compliance date of 8/30 of 2023, and then 9/1 of 2023. Follow-up site inspections happened there, you can see, as also inspections via computer. Results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a picture of the property appraiser's website showing Leticia Morales as the owner. These are posted hearings, notice that was done on the property on 3/4 of '24. This is a photo that was taken of the garage on 3/2 of '19. That shows where the garage door is there, and then the enclosed was taken on, it looks like 1/31 of '22. A photo of the new door installed on enclosed garage taken on 7/19 of '23. Also, photo of notice of the violations posted due to the return certified mail that was done on 8/16 of '23. Photo of the final letter posted due to the return certified mail. Enclosed garage violation remains on the property 3/13 of '24. This is a picture of the permit screen showing that no permits have been issued to correct the violations. Regarding Seminole County Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, permitting process that we have. Also, the recommendation based on the testimony and the evidence presented in the case number 2413 CESM is determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 300 Ridge Road, Fern Park in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property as in violation of Seminole County Code Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It's further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before May 8th of 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Would you like to submit the
submit-
electronic
yes,
case
ma'am, I
file into
would.
the record? Do you have any objection to the case file that's in front of you, the electronic record, and what's been shown here today being presented into the record as evidence?
Yes.
You do have
Oh,
objection?
no,
to-
no, we are done.
Okay.
But
And do you have anything you would like to
I
add?
mean, I have a question, because the first time when they came in, that's an inspector, they came in, and he told me that I need to, because there was cabinets inside the garage. He told me, take it down, and he came back 2 weeks after, and he see the cabinets wasn't there, and he never told me anything else about that I need a permit for all this stuff. That's
I'm sorry, what was that again?
the first inspector, the one they went.
The one who brought the case
Yes.
originally forward.
That wasn't
Okay.
you, right? No, because there was another guy, yeah.
It was a guy,
There was
correct?
a guy, yes. He came back 2 weeks after. I called him, as soon as he left the car, I called him. He's like, you need to take the cabinets off the wall. And there was a microwave too. He's like, take everything off. So we took everything off. He came back 2 weeks and he never told me anything else. He's like, okay, you're good to go. And he left.
Well, the garage was enclosed, so the door was taken out and another door was replaced in its place.
Yes.
So that has to be permitted.
Oh, I know.
I don't know who you spoke with, I'm sorry.
Okay. There was a guy, so he's suspected from Seminole County. And he left his car
We don't,
there.
is it a permit screen? I'm thinking maybe, okay, I think code enforcement is working on this as well, due to the fact that it's got multiple,
Violations.
well, there's multiple dwellings on one property.
Oh, okay.
There is no permit anywhere that we
No,
would.
no, it's no permit. No, I'm not saying there's no permit.
So there's no permits recent, so I don't know, I believe that would be the Cameron Adair with the Seminole County Sheriff's Department. Was he dressed like a deputy?
Yes.
Okay, that's who it is.
Okay.
It's code enforcement.
But that's separate and apart
No,
from,
that's what I'm
Yes.
saying, but I thought it was the same, that's why,
No,
okay.
okay.
no.
And so I can kind of understand probably the confusion.
Now
on
I'm starting to wonder, okay, I can. I
Maybe
see-
the being here before, some of those things are, okay.
But now, I just spoke to the lady over there at the office, and she gave me all the information that I need to do. Because I talked to her about the garage, because I was thinking to take the window, the door off, and put the garage door back in. He's like, you don't need to if you do it right.
If you just
I'm like,
permit
okay.
it, if you permit it
Yeah, that's what she is. So she told me what I got to
and
do.
do your inspections, will be
yeah.
good.
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and find that your sister was properly noticed to be here, that I'm accepting your testimony that you live on the property and that you have authorization to be here on her behalf, and that you have participated in this hearing, but that she was properly noticed to be here. I'm going to find that the property is in violation of Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1 of the Seminole County Building Code. I'm going to order that you bring the property into compliance by May 8th, 2024, at 8 a.m., or a fine in the amount of $150 a day will be imposed against the property.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next case is 2321 CESM, Three Guys Properties, Jack Enterprises, LLC.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Hello. And you are Aaron Holsipple?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And your relationship with the case?
I am co-owner of Three Guys Properties LLC.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector for Seminole County Building. Are you ready for me to start?
Let me go ahead and swear him in first. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, for the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector for Seminole County Building. This is a compliance hearing for 2321 CESM, Three Guys Property LLC, Jack Enterprise LLC Registered Agent, 1091 Merritt Street, Altamont Springs, Florida, 32701. Violation of the Seminole County Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, construction without the required permits. This case was originally heard by the Special Magistrate on February the 9th of 2023, and an order was issued giving the respondent a compliance date on or before April 14th of 2023. An affidavit of compliance was filed by the inspector after reinspection on January 30th of 2024. The estimated administrative cost to process this case to date is $554.09 for both the inspector and the clerk. Recommendation, the special magistrate issue an order imposing the administrative cost totaling $554.09 and require these costs to be paid within 30 days or the fine will revert to the original amount of $14,400 and constitute a lien on the property. This concludes my presentation.
So the original fine of $14,400, there was an amount of time that they were out of compliance
Correct.
with the order?
That is
Okay.
correct.
Okay. Would you like to, did you give me a rundown of the costs? Do you have that in the file?
The clerk will have that.
Okay. Would you like to submit that into the record?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you have an objection to the $554.09 in costs?
No.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to add?
We were aware of the situation the entire time. Our contractor, much like the other gentleman, totally flaked out on me, and he kept telling me, it's done, it's done, it's done, and I'm like, it's not, because we're getting violations in the mail certified. So that's why we are where we are now, is because this gentleman just continued to lie to us, and it is what it is. But we'll just add the 55409 to the lawsuit that we have filing against him currently, so.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and order that the costs in the amount of $554.09 be imposed, and that you have 30 days to pay that. You can pay that here.
Okay.
Probably not until the order is issued, though. I know sometimes people like to pay it the day that they're here,
Yeah.
but if you, you'll get an order, and then you'll be able to pay it.
Will they send the bill to to our office location?
It'll be sent to the location that we have on file with the property appraisers, where we send normal.
Yep, perfect.
Okay. So, yeah, we will send the order at that time.
Sounds good.
You'll have 30 days. If not, it reverts back to the original
Oh,
fine
no,
amount.
it'll get paid.
Okay.
Oh.
All right,
We all
thank you.
set? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. You do, yeah, because I'll need to have the costs, that they can see them too.
She wants it on the PowerPoint to break down the cost.
Okay. That's good. Just so the person can see them too, what they are. Okay, the next case, 2346 CESM, Rico Properties, and Brian Reese, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And you're Mr. Reese?
Sorry, Randy Bumblow, architect, registered architect with the state of Florida, representing Brian Reese today. He had hip replacement surgery yesterday.
Okay, and I'm sorry, state your name again, please?
Randy Bumblow?
And can you spell your last name for me?
Sure, B-U-M-B-A-L-O-U-G-H.
Okay, and do you have anything written authorization to be here today on his behalf?
I'm listed actually under the
In the prior order?
correct as a registered agent.
Yes, ma'am. Brian Reese called me and let me know he wasn't going to be compliant, so he was coming in to ask for additional time. And I said, well, because an order had been placed, somebody needs to come and speak in your behalf, which he was not going to be able to be here this week.
And he did let you know that it would be this gentleman?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Can I go ahead and swear you in?
You bet.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, for the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Seminole County Building Inspector for Seminole County Building. This is in regards to case number 2346 CESM, Rico Properties LLP. Brian Reese, the owner, at 2710 Pemberton Drive, Apopka, Florida, 32703. This code was originally heard by the case on July 13th of 2023, and an order was issued given the respondent a compliance date of September the 15th of 2023. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by the inspector after reinspection on September 19th of 2023. On November 20th of 2023, the special magistrate issued an amended order extending the compliance date to January 10th of 2024. On January 11th of 2024, the special magistrate issued a second amended order extending the compliance date to March 13th of 2024, with a compliance hearing scheduled for March 14th of 2024. An estimated administrative cost to process this task to date are $868.81 for both the inspector and the clerk. Recommendation, the special magistrate issue an order constituting a lien in the amount of $50 a day per day of noncompliance from March 13th of 2024 through and including March 14th of 2024 at $50 per day, and the fine shall continue to accrue at $50 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated after March 14th of 2024. This concludes my presentation.
Did you have something you wanted to add?
If you don't mind, I would like to state that the construction from our prior visits is progressing. We've had inspections. We're looking to have exterior stairs installed shortly. That brings the office that was constructed without a permit prior to Mr. Reese's ownership of the property into compliance with the current building code, handles our egress issues. Currently, we're talking about some covered canopies that are on site. There's 3 of them on the back of the building and 1 on the side. I have a letter, and I believe the county should be in possession of a letter from MK Structural Engineering stating that the 3 canopies on the back are structurally sound and in compliance. I believe we have clearing from zoning on the location of those canopies, if not mistaken. And there's 1 canopy on the side that is not structurally tied down. Mr. Reese has been waiting for his partner, the contractor of record, to be back in the country. He got in this week, and I believe Friday, tomorrow, we'll be able to submit building permit for the alterations to properly secure that canopy. Have to work on new foundations and tie downs for that.
Okay, and have you all been in contact at all times with?
Mr. Reese has been in touch with me. In the hearing originally, my thought was, his thought process was, I said, if you remove the canopies, you're in compliance at that point, once that permit gets issued. Apparently, that's what he was going to do. He spoke ahead of time, and when he told the tenants they were being removed, the tenant threatened to leave. So now we're back to getting the canopies permitted. So I said, well, that would have to go before you to see whether or not we have the time for that.
And what are you thinking, how much additional time would it take?
Because they have to be permitted. They can't, no letters for them. They have to be permitted.
I mean, the letter probably is helpful, but you still need to go through the process for permitting.
They each have to have a permit for them.
Right. I'd like to ask for 90-day extension in order to be able to make sure we get those permits issued and work underway.
So we don't have a July meeting, right? Is there a July meeting? Because 90 days is June. I don't have a July meeting on. Okay. Oh, I guess I should have looked at the calendar, right? July.
Is the concern that it would be beyond July then? Are we?
No, it would be, I could give you till right before the June meeting, and that's, actually, that is 90 days, so. Okay, so does the county have a problem with an extension out till June 12th, 2024?
Is it June 12th then?
It is.
As long, No, as long as he's working towards getting his permit and stays in touch with us to show that he is doing that. I mean, there are 3 canopies. They should be fairly easy to be able to send in the engineering plans and drawings for them. And that, I'm sorry, was June 12th?
June 12th, because June 13th is the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and issue an extension of my prior order, which was the second amended order. And I'm going to extend the compliance time to June 13th, 2024. And all other remaining matters in that order, the fine amount of $50 a day will remain the same, and everything else will remain the same. Just the compliance period will extend to June 12th, 2024, at 8
Very
a.m.
good. Thank you.
Thank you. I was confusing myself. Yeah, I had the prior. Next to this, where I got the August 7th date, was there's August 8th next to the June, and it doesn't show a July hearing, so I was just. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to do these other 4.
That's fine.
Okay, the next case is 2408 CESN, Julian Jimenez.
Are you ready? All right, for the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Seminole County Building Inspector for Seminole County Building. In regards to case number 2408 CESM, Julian Jimenez at 105 Sage Street, Altamont Springs, Florida, Seminole County. Seminole County violation charge, the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation: enclosure of windows and doors on both sides of the home, installation of new windows, doors, fence, AC unit without the required permits. It also should say in there as well, interior renovations done. The initial inspection was done on 2/20 of '23, and the notice went out on 2/21 of '23, given a compliance date of 4/11/23 and 7/26 of '23. Follow-up visits, as you can see, versus follow-up visits via computer. Results of the reinspection violation remains on the property. This is a picture of the property appraiser's card showing Julian Jimenez as the property owner. This is the return receipt received. Julian. Photos of unpermitted windows and fence taken on 2/20 of '23. Photos of unpermitted windows and fence taken on 3/27 of '23. This is photos of a new AC unit that was taken on 4/25 of '23. Photos of an unpermitted fence and windows taken on 8/23 of '23. Violation remains 3/13 of '24. No permits issued to correct the violations. This is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permitting process. And again, the recommendation here, based on the testimony and the evidence presented in this case number 2408 CESM, it's determined that the respondent is a record owner of the property located at 105 Sage Street, Altamont Springs, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property in violation of Seminole County Code Chapter 40 Appendix A, Section 105. Further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violations on or before May 8th of 2024. In order to correct the violations, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. The respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This was a prior code case that we had, that the house was not even hardly habitable because they had cut the rooms up into different rooms. So now the house has been completely turned over and redone.
Okay. Would you like to submit the electronic case file into the record as evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll accept the electronic case file. I'm going to find that the property owner is properly noticed to be here today and they are not present. I'm going to find a violation of Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1 of the Seminole County Building Code. I'm going to order that the property owner come into compliance by 8 a.m. on May 8th, 2024, or a fine of $250 a day will be imposed for each and every day thereafter that the fine remains. Okay, next case. 2410 CESM, Tutton Investment Homes, LLC.
For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector for Seminole County Building. In regards to case number 2410 CESM, Tuitt Investment Homes LLC at 3000 East 20th Street, Sanford, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation: installation of new windows and closing window, door, and new AC unit without the required permits. This is an initial inspection that was done on 6/2 of 23, given the notice of respondent same day, and also again on 6/6 of 23, given the compliance dates of 6/16 of 23, 6/19, and 8/24 of 23. Follow-up site visits, as you can see, and the follow-up inspections via computer. Results of the reinspection violation remains on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's page that shows that Tuitt Investment Homes LLC is a property owner. This is a posted hearing notice that was done on the property on 3/4 of 24, and a photo of the exterior renovations and field notice of the violation dated on 6/2 of 23. This is a photo of the new AC unit and a new window dated on 6/2 of 23. Photos of the enclosed door, the new AC unit, and the windows that were dated on 7/18 of 23. Photos of the new AC unit again and window dated on 8/22 of 23. The violation remains on the property still at 3/13 of 24. This is the property, a screen of the permits showing that no permits issued to correct the violations. This is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permitting process. The recommendation based on the testimony and the evidence presented in case number 2410 CESM is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 3000 East 20th Street, Sanford, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, is in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code Chapter 40 Appendix A, Section 105.1. It's further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before May 8th of 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my case.
Okay, I'm going to find that, or would you like to submit the electronic case file into the record?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll accept the electronic case file. I'm going to find that the property owner has been properly noticed to be here today and they are not present. I'm going to find that there is a violation of Chapter 40 Appendix A, Section 105.1 of the Seminole County Code. I'm going to give the property owner until 8 a.m. on May 8th, 2024, or a fine in the amount of $250 a day will be imposed for each and every day thereafter that the violation remains. Okay, the next case is 2414 CESM, Michelle Garcia.
Okay, for the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector for Seminole County Building. This is in regards to case number 2414 CESM, Michelle Garcia, at 2202 Barkwood Court, Lake Mary, Florida, Seminole County, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation: installation of a white vinyl fence and exterior renovations without the required permits. This is a picture of the permit screen, or the copy of the presentation showing the initial inspection that was done on 8/14 of '23. Notice to the respondent went out the same day, given a compliance date of 8/28/23. Also on 9/29 of '23, 10/20 of '23, and 10/24 of '23. Shows the follow-up visits that were done in person and also via computer. The results of the inspection, the violation remains on the property. It's a picture of the property appraiser's card showing that Michelle Garcia is the property owner. This is a copy of a certified return receipt received. These are photos of field notices and violations that were posted for stop work order dated on 8/14 of '23. An aerial photo of the backyard and the home dated on 3/16 of '23. Or, I'm sorry, 17, sorry, 3/6 of 17. Aerial photo of the major construction on the back side of the house dated on 1/2 of '23. Photo of the rear door installation and white vinyl fence that was done on 8/14 of '23. Photos of the white vinyl fence installed again on 9/15 of '23. Photo of the white vinyl fence installed on, that was dated on 10/5 of '23. And as of the date 3/15 of '24, the violations still remain on the property. It's a copy of the property, the permitting page. Spit this out here, this is a long day. No permits issued to correct the violations. This is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding our permitting process. And recommendation based on the testimony and the evidence presented in this case number 2414 CESM. It's determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 2202 Barkwood Court, Lake Mary in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, is in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. It's further recommended that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before May 8th of 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation, and I'd like to have these records, PowerPoints entered into record, please.
The electronic case file will be accepted into the record. I'm going to find that the property owner was noticed to be here, however, she's not present. I'm going to find that there is a violation of Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1 of the Seminole County Code, and I'm going to order that the property be brought into compliance by May 8th, 2024 at 8 a.m., or a fine in the amount of $150 a day will be imposed. Okay. The next case is 2350 CESM Lena Della Russo Trust.
What is 2350? For the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Seminole County Building Inspector for Seminole County Building. This is in regards to case number 2350 CESM Lena Della Russo Trust at 3232 Briar Way, Apopka, Florida, 32703. Violation, Seminole County Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, construction without the required permits. This case was originally heard by the special magistrate on August 10th of 2023. and an order was given issue in the responded to compliance date of October 13th of 2023. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by the inspector after reinspection on October 17th of 2023. On November 16th of 2023, the special magistrate issued an order extending the compliance date to December 13th of 2023. On December 14th of 2023, the special magistrate issued an order extending the compliance date to February 7th of 2024. On February 8th, the special magistrate issued an order extending the compliance date to March 13th of 2024. An estimated administrative cost to process this case totals $1,190.86 for both the inspector and the clerk. Recommendation, based on the imposed order, the special magistrate board issue an order constituting a lien in the amount of $50 for 1 day of noncompliance for March 13th, 2024, and $50 per day, and the fine shall continue to accrue at $50 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated after March 14th of 2024. This concludes my presentation.
So the last time we were here, and we did the continuance, they were working toward compliance. Wasn't there something to do with a variance or something that was needed?
They didn't apply for a variance, they just needed to correct their drawings. They did get the fence permit issued yesterday after I emailed him 2 weeks ago and said it's been approved. Can you please at least show you're working toward, you have to want it more than I do.
Right, right.
Show you're working towards this so that the special magistrate will at least see you're working towards it, which yesterday, apparently late yesterday, they paid for the fence permit.
And so, was it only the fence that we were waiting on?
No, ma'am, we've got an area in the front. Julie, do you have the pictures of them?
Thought that
We've
there
got an
were-
area in the front that has been, there's pillars and there's
Yeah.
wrought iron that's been done that, it's in PC status at this point in time. The last corrections of any contact was on 3/8. So,
There was something.
something, yes, something.
And no one contacted you today as to why they aren't here, or?
No.
Can you go through for me the costs of $1,190.86, what those entail?
I'm sorry. My staff is saying, I'm sorry, say it, please. Maybe to the back here. 312? I don't have 312 in here. Okay. His attorney said he was going to be in another meeting, and he couldn't make today's meeting because he had called over to another area. I don't know why Mr. Della Russo's not here. You didn't get an email? Oh. He called.
So, based on the information that they have, or that now that we're hearing that an attorney actually attempted and said he had a conflict for
He's
today.
got a conflict of interest for the meeting.
And I think at the last hearing, he was here by himself. And the
Correct.
Della Russos were not
Correct.
here. How long do you think that it will take them, with them having started the process?
It depends on how fast they get back to one another. I've been emailing him, calling, stop by and talk to him. Let's get going, let's get going, let's get going. So, I don't know. Depends on how fast they move at responding to if there's any questions that are asked. It shouldn't be that difficult to permit some columns and a wrought iron fence.
And that process has been started?
Oh,
It's
yes,
pending?
yes, it has
Okay.
been started.
Okay, then I'm going to amend my prior order and give them 30 days.
Okay.
To be back here in the April 11th hearing. So I'll actually extend to April 10th at 8 a.m. For them to be back here if for some reason it's not in compliance on April 11th. Okay. The next case, CESM 61, or 2361 CESM, Alan J. Franz and Sandra T. Franz.
Yes, ma'am, I'm going to ask for a continuance at this point. Mr. Franz passed away yesterday, so we had to deal with that. And I told his wife that I would ask for her to get a stay. I mean, at this point, they're not in compliance. My recommendation to her was, for the things he was trying to possibly have engineered and permitted, to just remove it off the property to get into compliance, but that'll be up to her.
We amended one time, I think, with that case prior. Because had they done some work?
They started some work. Mr. Franz had cancer, and he's the one that said, it's just me, myself, trying to do these things. And he had a couple of buildings he did want to get engineered. I don't know where she's going to go at this point in time with this, but I told her I'd ask for additional time.
Okay, I'm going to
ask for 3 months if we can wait.
Okay, I was actually gonna suggest that we give her till August 7th as well. 'Cause she's got some other things she's gonna be dealing with first.
Sure.
Okay. So I will go ahead and amend my prior order in 2361 CESM and make the compliance date August 7th, 2024. Okay, and I have 2 special requests on here. Are these are withdrawn? Just withdrawn. They're nothing on the bottom. Okay. Okay. All right. And the next case is my first page. Is 2417 CESM, Efrain Lima and Kelly Andres. And I believe that's the new, yeah. Mr. Love.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. For the record, McGregor Love, 215 North Eola Drive, here on behalf of the Limas.
Okay, for the record, name is Vicki Hathaway, Building Inspector for Seminole County Building. This is in regards to case number 24 CESM, Ephraim Lima and Kelly Andres. at,
Okay, and let me go ahead and
excuse me,
swear
sorry.
whoever, no, it's okay, whoever is going to provide testimony, Mr. McGregor, for you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Vicki Hathaway, Seminole County Inspector for Seminole County Building Division. This is in regards to case number 2417, CESM Ephraim Lima and Kelly Andres at vacant property 3125 Lowry Drive, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violation, installation of a dock. We've also got installation of a well, addition to the main structure, including interior build-out to include but not limited to the plumbing, electrical, mechanical, and accessory structures, including sheds and connex containers without the required permits. The initial inspection was done on 11/15 of '23. Notice to the respondent went out on 2/23 of '24, given a compliance date of 3/8/24, 3/11/24. Follow-up visits that were done on site on 2/26 of '24, 3/13 of '24. Follow-up inspections you can see via computer system. It's got results of the inspections. The violations remain on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website showing that Ephraim Lima and Kelly Andres is the property owners of the property. This is a posting, a photo of the posting for the hearing and with affidavit of personal service handed to Dennis Lima on 3/4 of '24. This is a photo of the unpermitted building that was started on 2/15 of '19. Photo of the unpermitted building completed without build-out on 1/7 of '20. Unpermitted addition to the main structure, including interior build-out, dock, accessory structure, and 5 connex storage containers dated on 11/8 of '23. These are also the unpermitted dock on 12/9 of '22, unpermitted dock dated on 11/8 of '23. These are photos of the well digging in the truck that was dated on 1/10 of '24. This is the photos of the unpermitted dock dated, I want to say on 2/21 of '24. I believe that's a gazebo. I think, I can't tell what it is from there. I know originally when I first saw what was out there, it was a gazebo, which looked like it led to a dock, but we've had things parked in front there so you can't see what it is, but there's some type of wooden structure there. Photo of the unpermitted electrical dated on 2/26 of '24. Photo of the amended notice of violation along with building officials' letter of intent regarding power disconnect dated on 2/27 of '24. This is a picture again of the dock violation that remains on 3/13 of '24. Again, of the structure violation that remains on 3/13 of '24. No permits in the system here except for one is for an actual gazebo and the other one is for the fence, the electric gates and the fence, which are on hold at this point in time because of the fact they haven't gone anywhere with whoever has submitted these. And for the fact is, even when they are submitted, it's going to circle back to the single-family residence that's not there, that they're not going to be allowed to have them. So there's no permits to correct the violation at this point. This is a copy of the permit application dated and signed on 4/14/17 and the E-Plan workflow routing with no submittal since 10/17 of '18. And this is a copy of the Seminole County Chapter 40 Appendix A regarding the permitting process. Recommendation based on the testimony and evidence presented in the case number 2417 CESM is determined that the respondents are the record owner of the property located at the 3125 Lowry Drive, Oviedo, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further recommends that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violation on or before May 8th of 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or repeated after compliance. The respondent must contact the inspector to verify compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Would you like to submit the electronic case file into the record?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any objection to the electronic case file being submitted into the record?
Just a few items that I will note for the record, and, you know, I don't have an objection to it being submitted, but some of the characterizations, as I'll get to in kind of my presentation, are inaccurate, and I do understand that Ms. Hathaway has not been able to walk the property, so I understand that.
Oh, she
but,
still hasn't?
Kara Hill has been on the property,
Okay.
and we'll discuss that in the next one.
Okay.
But what I'll say for purposes of the evidence is that on page 5 and 6, I believe that these images are properly permitted, of the structure that's being constructed on page 5 and 6. And then on page 8, the item shown there is not a, let's see, page 8 on the left image says unpermitted dock. That is not a dock. Kelly, could you?
That's the gazebo. That's under
Okay,
this
that's the gazebo. What the arrow is pointing to is in fact the gazebo, not a dock.
That was applied for,
It was
Yes.
but not
Correct.
received?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a gazebo.
So
Okay.
that would just be the only thing I would note from the presentation.
Okay, so let's go back to pages 8 and 9 that you said were, or no, 5 and 6 that you said were properly permitted.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Is there a permit for,
You can see the main structure there. Okay? The awning was never permitted, that's attached to the front of it. Then you've got a
Okay.
structure on the side of that.
Sorry, Ms. Hathaway, I referred to pages 5 and 6, not,
yeah, I'm sorry, 5 and 6? The actual main structure, was it permitted?
The original structure did have a permit for it from 2017, I believe it was
Okay.
2017. Yes, for the original, but it has never been finalized out because we stopped the process.
Okay, so the permit was applied for, it was just never received.
the permit was issued. I'll get into more detail about the timeline, but the permit was issued, it was inspected by the county. There were 5 approved inspections of the structure by the county. So I didn't think, it was not final, but I don't know that unpermitted captures the status of this building.
Okay.
It was originally built as a barn, okay?
Oh,
When we
on
went-
ag property?
Correct. When we went to inspect it, there were inspections that were done. However, some were denied because of the fact it was becoming a build-out more than what was being portrayed as being a barn. So the building official originally, who had this, didn't void it, but he stopped it right there and denied it.
Okay, so it does not have a final permit
I'll
for
get
it.
into the timing and sort of the individual inspections and what we know from the record. And I'll just state for the record myself that I was under the impression that this was the sort of July timeline for compliance. So I've had to do some homework pretty quickly on a lot of this, and it's very complicated. So I don't want to misrepresent anything. And I think the most productive way to handle this, frankly, is to have a meeting with, the building official and folks from the county rather than through an evidentiary hearing, but we'll get into the details, I'm
Well, it's
sure.
not a real evidentiary
No,
hearing, it's a
yeah.
code enforcement hearing.
Yes.
There's a little bit different. But
Yep.
I want to ask a couple more questions before I fully accept or
Sure.
not accept. Mr. Pike, can you explain to me the letter that was part of the electronic case file about the electric being possibly pulled?
Absolutely. This permit that their attorney is referencing is for a barn, and it's never had final inspections. It's never been completed. It's never had a certificate of completion. The permit expired. They came in, asked to renew it. We did renew it as that. They have admitted that they're living in there, and they have built out the inside without a permit. The electrical service we've only approved on this property is a 60 amp for one light bulb. That is not a 60 amp service. They have changed that electrical without a permit and inspection. So I don't know what the whole inside of this building being completed is unsafe since we have had no inspections and no permitting for it. Same with the electrical service, same with the well, same with the electric gate, same with anything else on that property, the well. So in my eyes, it is unsafe.
Okay. And that's the purpose for the letter that was issued to?
That's correct. That's the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40,
Okay.
and the codes are cited in there.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to accept the electronic case file into the record as presented by the county. As is, with the one exception of having the slide 8, where it speaks to it being an unpermitted dock, changing that to an unpermitted gazebo. Do you have anything further that you would like to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, and I do have a presentation, and candidly, I'm not sure, do I get a clicker, or do I just tell you? Okay. And while they're pulling that up, I'll say that I appreciate the county's work on this. We've been working with Kara Hill, as you'll hear on the next matter. She's been incredibly helpful in moving that along, which was the subject of your last order. And I do appreciate, I've reached out to Bob Pike, the building official, and he contacted me quickly with Andrew from the county attorney's office. So I remain confident that we're moving in the right direction. I remain confident we can handle this with the county. There's a lot of work to do, but I think we're moving in the right direction. So the reason I put this together, Your Honor, is just to give you an overview of where I've been able to piece together some of the timing. And I think that as I looked more and more into this matter, I think it's been mostly hampered by a lack of communication between the property owner and the county, and I'm really trying to act as the bridge there to sort of make sense of what's happened and where we are today. So I just put together this timeline, and let's see, is it the green? It is not working for me right now. Let me see. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to start before the code matter, and if anyone from the county has something that is different or in addition to this, please do let us know. But this is an overview of my understanding. Oh, now that, okay, there we go. Okay. Back in March 2017, application was submitted for this permit. That's the permit for the pole barn, and I'll talk about where it went from a pole barn to a residential structure. So that was what the description was on the actual application itself. I think this might have dying batteries. I think that's what's happening. I can tell you next slide if that's easier, if you can do it on your end. Okay. Yeah, maybe just, if you could click for me, I'll tell you next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, so in April 2017, there's a notice of commencement. Next slide. Somewhere in the mid-2017s, and this was something I sat down with the Limas and asked, okay, when did you decide, and why did you decide to make this structure a residential structure? Because originally it was permitted as a pole barn. That decision was made in about mid-2017. So next slide. And this is where I would differ from the county's description of kind of where we are. I do not think that anyone is trying to misrepresent. I really do think that we need to get on the same page about the timeline here. In September 2018, there was a revision submitted for an interior build-out. Next slide. The description on the revision, and I'll show you an image, it says 9 pages including floor plans, elevation, electrical, and mechanical drawings. Next slide. So this is the submittal from 9/17 of 2018. So you're going to have to go through all this. I didn't realize I had that animation. Could you keep going? Yeah. Apologize. Okay, it's gone all keep going. Okay. In July of 2017, the plans were returned for a revision to incorporate the interior build-out. Next slide. Okay, so that was missing from the first one. I'm not sure what happened with the presentation. Next slide. Next slide. These are the electrical plans. We have a copy of. They're stamped. These are the electrical plans that were submitted with the application that are going to take the kind of prior 60 amp up to a 400 amp. Next slide. Why is that happening? Okay. Keep going. Sorry. So on from January to August of 2019, there were 5 separate inspections by the county that were passed, and those were, I'll show you the next, on the next slide. Those were for the exterior and the interior. And so, sorry.
Wait right there. Do we have those in the county system?
Bob Pike for the record, Seminole County Building Official. They were submitted as a revision. We had plan review comments, and we sent them back, and they never came back. So this revision's never been approved, and the permit expired.
So
The only inspections we've had were for the building itself. Nothing for, an interior inspection would have been for the building and not the build-out. So we've not had any inspections or permitting for the permit for the build-out associated with this permit.
So where did you get the approved column?
This is on the county's website.
And
so-
it looks like, just like that?
Yes, yes.
I don't agree with this. The frame was originally turned down.
This is on the permitting website, so if there's,
Is that from the property appraisers?
no, it's the Seminole County permitting.
Or we'd have to look it up.
What did you say, John? So, and this is part of what I would like to work through with the county on the details, because the reason I included the resubmittal, which specifically said it was for an interior build-out, is to show the difference in timing between that resubmittal and then these inspections. I just don't know why there would be an approved inspection after that had been resubmitted.
But it doesn't look like any of those are for electrical. And interestingly, shouldn't your client know that?
They do, and they could speak to it. I've spoken to them about it.
It doesn't even refer to plumbing.
Right. It doesn't, everything looks to me like it's a slab, a frame, the structure, the roof, walls, nothing about plumbing, electric, or anything, even though I think you showed that that they had submitted for that. None of the approvals are for any of those things.
Correct.
That 8/22/19 would be a frame for the building, it's the shell.
These are all building inspections for the barn itself.
Okay, and I know that there was some inspection of the interior. Obviously, there needs to be an electrical section here, there needs to be a plumbing section here.
HVAC.
We're not asserting that it's fully permitted. We're just asserting that it has been inspected for the purposes of kind of the overall structure.
But not electrical.
No.
And that's the.
No, and I'm not
big
asserting that,
thing
Your
here
Honor. I'm
today.
not asserting that. I am just providing you with context. I'm not We're not claiming that electrical has been passed or finalized out at all. I'll get into the electrical later.
Okay.
Sorry to confuse you about the purpose of this. So, next slide, please. Oh, look at that. Next slide. Look at that. Okay, sorry. I don't know why this is happening. I swear I didn't. Okay, yeah, keep going. Okay, so March 23, the code enforcement case for unpermitted construction initiated. Next slide. In September of 2018, the permit was renewed. And this is, I think, where we can work with Mr. Pike to figure out how we got to where we are on this in particular, because it was the Lima's intention that when they submitted this, that they were going to get the residential structure fully approved. And I know that Mr. Pike, from speaking with him, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, said that when he signed it, he was not aware that this was for a residential structure and he thought it was for the sort of pole barn. But if you go to the next slide, the actual description of the on the face of it says that it's to schedule final inspections and close out and obtain a certificate of occupancy, which wouldn't be required for a non-residential structure. So they intended it to be for their residential structure. The county didn't understand that. I believe the county didn't understand that. But we're just trying to figure out how we get to the right place here from where we are.
So is that all?
Sorry, I was waiting for I thought that Mr. Pike wanted to speak.
No, I understood what you were saying.
Okay. Next, and one more additional thing that my client just brought up, the actual valuation of the property reflects, or the valuation of the permit is listed now at $257,000 and does reflect shed barn residential. So the permit does reflect that it's a residential permit. And it reflected that at the time that the application for renewal was submitted.
So the permit application is what reflects that, not the permit itself, not an issued permit. So the application for the permit for the renewal is what indicates that. So just because someone puts something on an application for a building permit doesn't mean they're entitled to it.
This is from the actual building department site for permits online.
Yeah, and the permit, the building department has this listed. I can. Would you like me to bring this up to you or give it to the clerk?
I don't.
It's a printout from the building department.
Okay. But what I was indicating is that just because someone puts something on an application for a building permit doesn't mean they're entitled to it.
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make that clear.
Yes. No, but it was, I think I'm trying to highlight the misunderstanding between the Limas and the county, where they believed that they were moving forward with a residential process that they were closing out, and the county clearly did not understand that. And that, I think, your order reflects from November, where it reflects that we should have some time to work through these issues.
No, that was for the zoning. That was related to the zoning, not the structures that continue to be built on the property, even though they don't have the proper zoning approval. And so part of the misunderstanding could have been cleared up if the county was allowed on the property, which is what I have indicated all along to your clients. And so some of the misunderstanding is purposely been created by them. And I understand you're a little new to this, but I'm not.
No,
So
I understand that.
I got to witness it before you got involved, and I appreciate that you are involved, because I do think that it will help facilitate the process getting taken care of properly. But and I appreciate what you've done here to put this together, but I need to reiterate that the misunderstanding is on your client for failing to let the county in to see what was going on there. If they had nothing to hide and they truly wanted to do a residential build-out, why wouldn't they have allowed the county on to help them?
What I'll say is that I can't speak to what happened prior to my involvement, but what I can tell you is that after the last hearing, what we've really focused our efforts on is the next matter that kind of was the subject of your more immediate order. And we've been working to try to address that, and we're still, we've just recently, yesterday, we had Ms. Hill on the property to kind of re-inspect, and we're trying to get through that. I'm trying to triage these items, and I have a lot of work left to do, but I'd like to be able to do that work with the county, and whether it's, how we get to the place where the county wants us to be is something I'm confident we can get to it. But it's a work in progress. So
I get that, but I don't know how many more times I can sit up here and tell your clients that the building on the property has to stop.
They've stopped all work on the property, absolutely. They have. Yeah, that has absolutely stopped.
It's unsafe for them. It's unsafe for their children. It is unsafe for any person that lives in that structure without having had inspections.
They have stopped all work on the property. Absolutely. We can just continue to move forward in this. I'm getting close to wrapping up my understanding of the timeline. So that may be a mischaracterization based on our exchange there. So I want to talk about the final inspection and certificate of compliance that they received, because they were under the impression that they had done so in consistent with Florida statutes. And could you go to the next slide just to show so these are the letters, and they paid, to have these expedited from a licensed engineer who, inspected everything. And I remember the day before the hearing, it was the same day that they asked me to help them. They went down to speak with Bob Pike, and they had these letters in hand, and they had an earnest belief that this was what they needed. And for multiple reasons, we have more work to do. But they did believe that this was sort of the process to follow. And part of that was a conversation that they had with the previous building official. Regardless, we are just interested in having a path forward. And I think that may be, if you go to the next slide, that may be, is that the last slide? Okay. What we did, I asked the Limas to provide, and I sent to their clerk, we just got it maybe 30 minutes before this hearing, was a letter from a independent electrician verifying sort of the inspecting physically the plans of the upgrade to 400 amps and the installation on site. We understand the county has an interest in verifying the safety of that. We're not saying that is a replacement for it, but given the immediate, claims to life safety threat, we thought that was necessary just today to be able to provide you with something, be able to provide the county with that letter as a show of good faith.
Mr. Pike, does a letter of that sort, is that permissible under the current circumstance?
Well, if I can go back a little bit, when I renewed the permit, it was for a pole barn, not for the unpermitted work that was in there already.
Was there a conversation about that?
There was a conversation about their engineered letter after the fact, and that would be for the building itself, since how it was initially permitted. It was built without a permit.
But Mr. Love had shown an application, the renewal, where they were seeking to get final CO.
That, what he was trying to do was use a third-party engineer to say everything was okay, that's what that letter's for. But until it meets our process in permitting, without the permitting, that letter really means nothing. Because we have no revisions for the interior, we've had no inspections. We have electric, plumbing, mechanical in there as well as
These letters
building.
right here that are showing?
Those letters are from their engineer.
Yeah.
I never really looked at them, other than he produced those, and I said, those may work after the fact for the building itself, but we still need to have engineering inspection on the rest of the permit to get it completed for the building itself, not for anything inside that we had no idea was going on in there.
Can you put up the permit renewal application in Mr.
Yeah.
Love's, just so I can understand?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
also added 2 structures on top of around this building without permits that we have no idea are safe. Two structural buildings onto the front and side of the building.
So, Your Honor, if we could show this, and I think the revision that was submitted in 2018, which specifically calls out the interior build-out. And I'm not alleging that any of that entitles them to a CEO. I think we need to work through that. But I'm just showing it to illustrate that the Limas attempted to put the county on notice that there was an interior build-out that was the subject of this same permit. And so when they asked for the renewal and filled out for a certificate of occupancy, I think they had a reasonable belief that the county knew that it was not just for a pole barn.
So and that's what I was trying to get at before. I disagree with that, because they could have put that they wanted a steak dinner on the bottom of their application. I mean, it really, just because an applicant puts something in their application doesn't mean they're going to get it, or they're even entitled to it. So I think that I do appreciate the fact that they did submit, and if you'll put that renewal back up there, that they did submit this, but I don't know, Mr. Pike, if you receive something like this renewal application,
Building
What-
was renewed just for the pole barn.
what does that do in your system? If you all receive something like that in, and the bottom of it says to schedule a final inspection on this permit to close it out and obtain a CO, even though you may think, a CO still is issued for a barn.
No, a certificate of completion would be issued for a
Okay,
barn.
but it's still, just because someone puts a CO on the bottom of it, doesn't mean they're living in it.
Correct.
And
No,
it-
no,
And it wouldn't
no.
even make the building department assume that.
No, and I'm not talking about the occupancy. I'm merely talking about the building official's belief when this was signed that it only related to the pole barn. Like, that was the scope of the request, because the plan comments reflected needing revisions to reflect the interior build-out. That was in the plan comment file at the time this was renewed. So the building department was aware that the Limas were wanting to build out the interior, and then plans reflecting the interior build-out were submitted to the building department. Now, they may not be entitled to have it issued, they may not be entitled to have it inspected, but certainly the building department was on notice that that's what they were moving forward with.
Possibly, but I think that there's been testimony that said that they were given comments back, and the permits were put on hold, and nothing was given until all of a sudden, September 2023, and they say, oh, we want to renew our permit, we want a CO. Well, they hadn't gone back and done all of the things that they were asked to do when they submitted those plans in 2018.
So these are details that I want to get into. I don't want to misrepresent facts here before you, which is why I would like to have a much more detailed conversation with everyone involved about exactly what happened, when it happened. But there was a conversation with the prior building official that led the Limas to believe that the third-party private provider route that they were moving through for the interior build-out was acceptable. Now,
When was that conversation? When did the prior building official?
when did you have that conversation?
That was when Paul Watson was here, from what I understand, that he was on site and said they needed a separate permit for that.
What year?
When was that?
Paul Watson didn't say that he wasn't.
He was there to inspect the barn itself, and then that's when he saw what was going on and said he needed to stop.
So it was at least prior to 2000, or after 2018? when they submitted those plans?
Right, it did exceed the scope of what was permitted at that time. They submitted a revision for the build-out. We had comments.
When did he leave?
He left January 2019.
Okay, so then a conversation that they had obviously had to have been prior to 2019 when he left, because they didn't have a conversation with him after he was already gone. So from 2019 to the almost end of 2023, they were going off of a conversation that they had with a prior building inspector. So almost 4 years later, they were still going off of a prior conversation. Okay.
And if I may speak, Your Honor, we've never had a private provider package submitted to us, so we've never even had that. We've never accepted it, and there's been no notice to building official
Okay.
No,
submitted,
I don't get it.
and the statutes are clear. We've given all the information to them. They were kind of not understanding. They thought that they had, but they did not, and we have nothing on file for that. So the private provider is really a moot point at this point. The fact is, we have not issued any approvals for a build-out in this building, and we've had no inspections in there. And the electrical service has been changed without a permit and inspection. So until we get those, this place is unsafe.
Okay.
No, we understand the issues with the statutory notice requirements. I've talked about that with the Limas. Honestly, I have never, as a land use attorney, kind of applied those. I'm sure that Bob Pike has, because that's more his area. But the Limas believe they had complied, and their engineer did as well. We're not looking to, litigate that issue. We're just looking for a path forward, and I only mention it to provide you with context for, the belief of the Limas as they proceeded through this process. But as it relates to the specific item of life safety, which is really kind of why we're here today, that's why we provided the letter from the engineer that recently inspected it, wrote the letter today. We're open to any other suggestions to give the county more comfort. And I would certainly think that we could deal with that on a much, much shorter time frame than sort of the other unpermitted issues, given that it's an electrical issue. But that's to your discretion, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm afraid that having an independent engineer say that the electrical is fine isn't sufficient. I think that the building official has indicated multiple times what needs to be done. And I think the last hearing we talked about the knowledge of your clients based on his profession. So I have a hard time believing that he doesn't understand any of this. But I will.
For what it's worth, Your Honor, and I was very new to this case the last time we spoke. Having spoken with the Limas, I really do believe that they were potentially misled about the process, but they had a genuine belief that as they went through this, that they were doing things the right way, which is why they were at Mr. Pike's office with this letter saying, please, we've got this letter, we're all ready to go. They may have been wrong about exactly how to get that done, but it was a genuine belief on their part.
And I have a hard time believing that. Let me just make
That's
that
fair.
clear for the record.
That's
only
fair.
because of the historical way that this has been handled and the absolute disregard for the things that they've been asked to do here up until this point. Now, I don't know what I may hear in another case
Right. And
after this, but
I think you will hear that we're cooperating with the county and want to continue to do so. But, we appreciate we have some work to do on this property.
okay. So I'm trying to also understand. So, has an address been assigned to this property now? Because I think at a prior hearing, there was not an address actually assigned.
The address is 3125 Lowry Drive.
Okay, and so it's been assigned through the 911 addressing system, like the regular?
That I don't know if it's been assigned through that specific addressing system.
But it is appearing now on the property appraiser as 3125 Lowry Drive.
Yes, and we have a property card printout that shows it as such, and
Your Honor, I believe
Is-
they've applied for homestead exemption.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that next. So you applied for homestead exemption on a property that you do not have authorization to live on. Is that correct?
yes, and they believed that they had, their certificate was kind of, that's what they handed to Mr. Pike, a copy of the certificate of occupancy and the certificate of compliance. They believed that gave them the authority to occupy the property.
What certificate of occupancy?
The certificate of compliance and the final inspection letter.
He's referencing the engineered letter on their part.
From 2017. Oh, the engineered letter.
Yes.
Which they thought they had a private provider, which they did not. Only the building department issues a certificate of occupancy. After the permitting's completed, the inspections are completed, and then we issue a certificate of occupancy, which would mean they can have legal occupancy of that building. As it stands today, there is no legal occupancy in that building. They need to vacate that building for their safety and their children's safety and anybody else on that site.
When did they apply for the homestead exemption?
Homestead is waiting on its response.
Right, but I'd like to know when it was applied for.
They're pulling that up now. So, yeah, there's some, so that it was, the letter was on January 29th of 2024. I believe that they submitted that electronically to the county. And there's a provision under statute that I will paraphrase and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Pike, but there's 2 days to reply to a private provider sort of final inspection with deficiencies.
But Mr. Pike has already testified to the fact that that was not an option to them.
So my understanding is that you have 2 days as the local government to inform them of that deficiency. And they didn't receive word, therefore they assumed, well, we have our sort of occupancy right, and that's when they applied for homestead.
If I may speak on that. What he's referencing to is the private provider statute. We never got a private provider statute of intent, so that really means nothing to us.
And I think what I'm saying is that the notice of deficiency is required within 2 days, and they should have been notified of that particular deficiency, which would be, we won't accept this because of the failure to provide a private provider form within 2 days.
I think that those kind of dates within the statute are triggered once the application's complete.
That is correct.
But it wasn't complete, so it was never submitted.
You mean that it wouldn't capture sufficiency review, like that? It would.
Right.
I don't know, and I don't think we're going to litigate that issue today. I would have to go back and look at it, but to answer your question more to the point, it was after that time period that they submitted for homestead.
Okay, so knowingly submitting for homestead is a crime when you do not have authorization to live on the property, just so we're clear. But I don't think that the statute triggers a number of days for the county to respond to something if they've not submitted a proper application, because that would be half submitting something and saying, you've got to look at it and you've got to comply with the statute, but I don't. So it doesn't really work that way. The property owner has to comply with the statute first to trigger the dates on the part of the county.
Correct.
So I would really caution against moving forward with anything with the property appraiser on homestead at this point on this property. That is very dangerous.
Yeah, and we'll have a totally separate conversation about that, but I think to your question about when they submitted, that's the time period.
Okay. And so are they receiving mail at this address?
Have you received any mail?
Our mail is coming back, certified mail, and anything that we mail them in person, sorry, is coming back to us.
Okay, I'd like to know what their mailing address is on the record, please.
Yeah, do you have a mailing address that you can provide? Like a P, like,
Oh, yeah.
And originally,
The what?
the case started because of the post office, because they were getting mail out there. Nobody knew why.
It's the Lowry Drive, or the other one that's on the property.
What Lowry Drive? I need you to say your address, please, in the microphone.
3125 Lowry Drive, Oviedo, Florida, 32765.
This letter here, this states
are you receiving
undeliverable.
mail at that address?
Okay, so the county, how many letters do you have that are undeliverable to that address?
We have like 5 here.
Can you please look at them and show me the date and say the dates into the records of them being deemed undeliverable to that address?
Yes, ma'am. We've got March 6th of 2024, March 4th of 2024, March 4th and March 4th on these.
All of 2024?
Yes, ma'am. And then we have from older things, they returned Bob's letter from March 6th, returned to sender, no such number, unable to forward.
Okay, I'm going to accept into the record the fact that there are 5 different instances of that address being denied as an address that's deliverable by the post office. Could you tell me the address that is on your driver's license?
It's the same address.
So, the same address.
The
Could you-
3125 Lowry Drive.
is on your driver's license.
Yes, ma'am. Someone ran over our mailbox, so that could possibly be why their mail is not working. Not sure.
Okay. And Mr. Lima, what is the address on your driver's license?
No. It's this one.
It's the same one.
3125 Lowry Drive is Efrain Lima's.
I just heard you ask if they had a copy of your driver's license. Do you not know the address?
If you need it, I can go get it.
But do
Yeah, so
you,
you can see it that it's actually does match with that.
okay,
It's in the
and,
card if you want me to
no,
go
that's,
get it.
no, that's okay. I'm taking your sworn testimony.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add related to the unpermitted structures on the property?
No, we're here to cooperate and answer your questions.
Okay. Okay, the county has indicated that they are asking until May 8th, 2024, for you to obtain the necessary building permits. I don't think it's possible for them to obtain the
It cannot happen
necessary.
until we have a main structure. Once that gets permitted, then everything else can be permitted.
And that can't be permitted until the.
Other violations are cleared up.
And we did give until July on those, correct?
Correct.
My problem is they're living there, though, and they've admitted it multiple times to multiple people, and they're living there with children without proper inspections on their electric.
Look, again, as it relates to the electric, I understand the county's interest, and if we want to carve out a specific, item for that so that we can address it on a short order and kind of deal with the most potentially life-threatening issues first and then deal with the other permitting issues, I think that is sensible.
But you can't even, the problem is you can't get an electrical permit for something that you can't get a permit for you can't get the primary structure because you don't have the proper zoning. So
I understand that we wouldn't be able to get a technical electrical permit issued without a connection to the underlying kind of building permit, but this would be more of almost like a separate site visit code inspection, but technical.
Mr. Pike, is there the ability to get temporary approval of the power source in its current
I
state?
can't do anything, Your Honor. It's not just electrical, it's unsafe. The plumbing could be unsafe, the mechanical, the building itself inside, we've never seen any framing inside. We have no idea if they have proper means of egress in there. We've had no inspections. The permits, the revision's never been approved for habitating and changing that to a residence on the inside. They've also added 2 structures on the outside that we don't know that are safe. The electrical we don't know is safe. They've done all this on their own and in total disregard for any kind of building code process. And I have to state the seriousness of what's going on here. So I stand by my comments until what they need to do is vacate, get their revisions approved, let the inspections begin, and we'll go through that process. We're more than willing to help you do anything possible to get to that process. But right now, as it stands today, I don't see a way I can help you in any way. I have been on site and was denied access there with my inspector. So I just don't see the cooperation in the past. I don't see the cooperation currently to even, I'm good at putting out fires, but I can't find an avenue for this one. I really can't.
And Your Honor, I would say that, I understand the building official's position. We had an introductory call a couple of days ago where we just kind of scratched the surface of this. I think that we need to work together and that there is room for cooperation moving forward. It may make sense to have if you are inclined to agree with the code suggestion of May 8th, we may not have permitting solved at that point, but I think it'll give us time to work with the county on a path forward. I don't think that there's been a sufficient dialogue until now. And when we've mainly been focused in the past month on the violation that was given a shorter time frame for compliance, we haven't really been given an opportunity to look into this.
So the only way that I've ever gotten any kind of movement from your client is to hold their feet to the fire. And so if I felt comfortable telling them that they had to come into compliance by tomorrow, I would do that. I don't, I am myself, I'm just beside myself that they would put their children in this position. And I'm supposed to give a reasonable amount of time for someone to come into compliance. Tomorrow is not reasonable. But to me, May 8th isn't reasonable either. Because if I gave till May 8th, and I don't know if you were here earlier, I had extended out a time and I told the person, I'm giving you till this date, but I'm asking that you not wait till the 1st of the month, because I know that with my past experience, that if I gave till May 8th, May 1st is when things would start to move with this case. And so our next hearing is April 11th. I'm going to give your client till April 10th to come into compliance with the building code violations. I'm going to find that they were properly noticed to be here today, that they are here today, that they are represented by you, and that they have actively participated in this hearing. I'm going to let you know that every order that goes out of this building from now on, every notice, everything is going to come to your address in addition. And if for some reason you no longer represent the Limas, I need you to notify Seminole County that you are no longer representing them, because they are refusing to accept mail. And if they had a post office box and it got run over, they're somehow refusing only the county's mail then. They're getting bills there because they're paying an electric bill. So somewhere, if that's the address that's on their driver's licenses, if that's the place they get mail, they're getting mail, or their electric would have been turned off a long time ago. So every order, I think I've been mindful to send every order to the attorney each time that they've had one anyway. I will continue sending orders to you, and I will instruct the county to send all orders to your address as well, in addition to the Limas. They are, so that we can ensure that we don't get the argument that they think that they didn't have to be here for some reason.
Understood.
I'm going to find that there is a violation on the property, multiple violations on the property for failure to have a permit for various items that have been constructed, the installation of a gazebo, the installation of a well that we had evidence of in front of our faces that has occurred without any permits, additions to a pole barn made into a living quarters with interior changes, no permits for plumbing, electrical, mechanical, no permits for any of the accessory structures on the property, in violation of Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1 of the Seminole County Code, and I'm going to order that the violations be brought into compliance by 8 a.m. on April 10th, 2024, or a fine of $250 a day will be imposed for each and every day there after that the violation remains. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. And just to clarify, Your Honor, my client just mentioned that the gazebo specifically is under another case number, for the record, but I understand your order.
It may be under a different order for a different reason related to zoning, but it also doesn't have a building permit either.
It's not under the first case.
I believe it is, but I think it's kind of a distinction without a difference, where they need to get that finalized out, so we can handle that.
Was there a gazebo? I remember seeing a gazebo permit that had been pulled at one point.
Yeah, and that's why it
There
was
is
pulled.
one that is pulled. Like I said, we can't get on the property. We've tried to get on, they won't let us on to see what all's there. The gazebo is there. I believe we ended up having to take it off the first violation, which is why they did apply for it in the beginning, because the pavers were also on there as well.
But the gazebo itself, even though a permit has been pulled, it's not been finalized out. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the permit's expired now, by the way.
Okay, so you still would need a permit for the gazebo as well?
Understood.
Okay. Okay, and the next case, 2366 CESM, Efrain Lima and Kelly Andres. And this is a compliance case. Care if I can swear you in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And I'll remind your clients they're still under oath.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement East Region. This is case 2366 ESM, Ephraim Lima and Kelly Andres, located at 3125 Lowry Drive in Oviedo. Violations charged of Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 7, Section 30.122. Storage on a vacant parcel is not a permitted use or use allowed by special exception in an A1 zone. The initial inspection was on March 16th, 2023, with compliance date orders ordered by the magistrate on February 7th, 2024 by 8 a.m., and again another order February 13th, 2024 by 5 p.m. Follow-up inspections were on February 7th, 2024, February 13th, 2024. The posting was done on March 4th, 2024, and on-site visits on March 7th, 2024. Excuse me, that should have been not the 13th, but yesterday, April. March, excuse me, wrong month. That is correct date, excuse me. The results of my inspection is the violation of storage accessory structures on a vacant parcel remains on the subject property. These are from the previous hearings that they were officially noticed by certified mail. We can keep through those because those were the older ones.
Well, can you get to the new photos? Yeah, where you?
Yep, keep going. So, go back once. I just want to go on record. This was from the previous hearing last month. That image on the left was not the pool that was taken down. That's actually a pile of sand. So I do want to go on record. I apologize. That is an incorrect photo.
So previously you had indicated that that was the pool that was taken down?
Correct. I was trying to get a view because I, at that time, did not have access to the property.
Okay.
That was the posting done by Building Inspector Jason Rucker on March 4th, 2024. He did hand delivery service. So I met Mr. Love and Mr. Lima and Ms. Andres on the property. They opened it up to me on March 7, 2024. This is where, in the back there, that's where the pool was located, and it has been removed since, but you'll see that in other photos. This was taken on March 7th. I'm going to do some comparison photos. So March 7th, when I did an on-site inspection, there was a camper that was owned by a Mr. Bush, and there's also a little white trailer back there that they said is their construction trailer. Yesterday, both were removed from the property.
Okay.
Mr. Lima did find another property store his construction trailer on currently. He had asked me to take a photo of the inside to show you that he does use it for construction supplies.
Okay.
And then yesterday, the white trailer was removed. These photos were taken on March 7th and March 13th. The pavers still exist on the property.
And correct me, but didn't we say that the pavers could stay pending?
The ones that were installed, you said, could stay, but the piles had to be
Okay.
removed. But I
Okay.
think Mr. Love's going to address that in his presentation.
Okay.
This photo is taken on the left on March 7th. So another camper was on the property. Yesterday, it was removed.
Okay.
The photo on the left was taken on March 7th. There were some antique cars being stored up under a carport. Yesterday, they were removed. These photos were taken on March 7th and March 13th. There's still some accessory items still under the carport. They do have some construction supplies like a saw and whatnot. They have some bicycles. They have a lawnmower, which I know Mr. Love's going to address in his presentation because they have to maintain the property, so they want to be able to keep a lawnmower there because once you start maintaining a property, you have to keep maintaining that property. So there's just some miscellaneous items up underneath the carport. So the suggested recommendations based on testimony and evidence presented in case 2366 ESM determined that the respondents, Ephraim Lima and Kelly Andres, are the owners of record located at Lowry Drive in Oviedo as determined by property appraiser records in possession or control of the property as a violation of Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 7, Section 31.22, uses permitted. It is further recommended the special magistrate issue an order constituting a lien in the amount of $5,500, excuse me, there's an extra 5 in there, $500 for 37 days of noncompliance from February 7, 2024 through and including March 14, 2024 at $150 per day, and the fine shall continue to accrue at $150 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated after March 14, 2024.
So can you tell me which items still remain that we talked about?
So per the order, it was including but not limited to the RVs, so they are gone. The boat, which is gone. Pavers, which are not installed, those remain. The above-ground pool was removed. And then it says any other items is hereby amended to 5 PM on February 13th. I mean, in all technicality, nothing should be on that property. It's supposed to be a vacant property. And that's why I think Mr. Love wanted to address some of the items to be left there today with you. But they have made progress.
Your Honor, I can address that
Okay.
if you're ready for me.
One second.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and again, just thank you to Kara Hill for coming out and being very helpful to help us work through this. I think we're moving in the right direction. The items that were left there not out of obstinance. They were left there so that we could have a conversation about them today, and you could give me your opinion, and we can decide what the LEMAs have to do with those items. The first would be the pavers that are not installed. The reason those remain would because first of all, they're very heavy, and relocating them would be difficult, but it's possible. But the thinking was that those could remain until we sorted out the other permitting issues, and if those are cleared up along the same timeline, then they could be installed, and if not, then they would have to be removed, and we would know that. That's the reason those remained. The other items that are there are also either related to kind of the construction of the property that has now, again, ceased, or they're there to make sure that they, meet the property maintenance code, such as, there are two lawnmowers that one is used for the front of the property, the other is kind of used for the larger back of the property. But again, it's at your discretion as to what you want or want removed or not, or don't feel needs to be removed on this timeline. We just wanted to have that conversation with you today.
I said other equipment, and, I think that probably is kind of up in the air about, what does other equipment mean? And it was basically, to me, and part of our discussion at the hearing was anything that's there that would be evidence of them living on the property, because they're not supposed to be living on the property. And this is actually the first hearing I think I've been part of where they've admitted to physically living on the property. And I also feel like, I was very specific about the pavers, very specific about it. And they weren't too heavy to bring to the property. And I think that this has been the trend, and that's where I'm trying to, I have a struggle with you asking me in a prior case to work with them and try to, come to the table and everybody work together, but I can't trust them. Because even something as simple as moving the pavers, and I recall, I also got a letter because they weren't going to be able to remove the RV because, or something, because someone.
So, yeah, and let me address both those items. So and I don't want to cut you off, so.
No, it's okay. I just, my point being with that is, one of the prior hearings that you weren't present for, your client sat where you're sitting and looked at me and told me he was going to text his friend right then and tell him to get it out of there. And I said to him, and if he won't, hook it up to your own vehicle and take it out of there. Oh, yes, yes, I will. And then we come to the next hearing, and it was still there. And so something that small that could show good faith on their part, they ignore. And so I have a really hard time with something as insignificant as the pavers being left on the property. I have a hard time accepting that because it's a direct violation of the order, and they don't care.
Well, let me tell you that I will take your dissatisfaction, because I've worked very closely with the Limas about this particular order, trying to get them into compliance. And I understand, so your order, as you recall, kind of happened at the end of the hearing, and it was, there wasn't a great deal of discussion about it, but as it relates to the pavers, I thought that we should, rather than remove them now, have a conversation with you about it. And if you say that you still feel that they should be removed, then I told them that they will have to be removed under a shorter timeline than the other permitting issues. But it was my advice to them that...
No, I'm sorry. I appreciate that, but I don't think it was your advice until they asked you. They had to have asked first, because you wouldn't have said, just, remove everything else, but those pavers, don't move those yet. We'll deal with that.
I think Kara can testify to the fact that I had that specific conversation with her on my own volition, if you recall.
He did mention it to me. I don't know if that was from the Limas to him, but he did say that they were going to ask permission to leave them there because it's part of, and Mr. Lima even said that it's part of putting them down. He didn't believe he needed a building permit for it because he's going to be certain feet, I guess, from the building. That's not my area of expertise. And so later on, when everything else is permitted, that's when they wanted to lay the pavers down. I believe that's what the plan was.
That's right.
So I know Mr. Love has told me that couple of times, but who has thought that was, I can't testify to
The
that.
pavers do need a permit, though. They need, it goes through zoning, right? But
The pavers, like the pavers, first of all, if they're up against the building, yes, 12 inches out, okay, a foot, have to have a barrier around them. However, we don't have a house here with issues of having the pavers down. So until the house is inspected and passes inspection, pavers should not be laid, due to the fact that engineering's not involved with it either.
And I remember us having that conversation, but it's not just like, okay, if you have a permitted structure on a property and you go to lay pavers, you can't just lay them. Is that correct?
Correct.
And this really boils down to me for a trust thing. I appreciate that they actually let Officer Hill on the property. I really am appreciative of that. And the other things that are there, well, if they're not supposed to be living there, they shouldn't have ferrets there. If they're not supposed to be living there, they shouldn't have bicycles there. If they're not supposed to be living there, they don't need to store lawnmowers there. They can bring them from wherever they are. If they had a lawn service, the lawn maintenance guy doesn't leave his lawnmowers on the property. He brings them to the property. And so by me allowing this order to be continued again, I'm in essence condoning them living on the property illegally. And I struggle with that because I do think that you've made great strides, and I do think that they've made a lot of progress, and I appreciate that. But I don't want them living on the property. And I don't think they're understanding that they're not supposed to be living on the property until it's permitted. I mean, I think they understand it. They're just choosing to ignore that. So what would your remedy for this situation be?
If there are items that are on the property, specific items that, that you would like to see removed, candidly, the way that the order happened last time was, for me, I probably could have slowed down a little bit more, but it sort of happened at the end, and I would have asked more questions of you had it not been sort of done in the way that it was. But that's what I'm here to do now. So I say, nothing that's currently there has been left there out of obstinance. It is just so that we know.
No, I get that. It's left there because they're living on the property, and they're not allowed to live there. So I get that it's not out of defiance for the order. But the part of it that it is defiance is that they're not supposed to be living there. So that's my struggle. And I 100% don't think that it was defiance of the order. I do not believe that. And I appreciate I appreciate some of the things that may have been unclear, but the items that were left were items proving that they live there. And my hands are tied, because if I could order them not to live there, that I would certainly do that right now. So all I can do is impose fines. But what does that do in these circumstances, because of the fact that they couldn't get a permit to leave these things here until July anyway?
I do appreciate the position you're in. If there are, I suppose the best that we can say at this stage is if there are particular items that you want removed, we can have those removed. If the pavers are an issue, we can have those removed.
What about the people? I don't care what you leave on the property if the people quit living there. So, out of respect for your attorney, and not because I feel like you have been cooperative in any part of this, I am going to give an extension until the same date as the last case of April 10th at 8 a.m. You're going to be required to let Officer Hill back on the property to show that all the items are gone. However, you need to arrange that to show that they're gone by April 10th, 2024. So the only things that should be on that property are things that are affixed to that property. Nothing else should be on that property. Is that clear? Do I need any?
No further clarification needed.
Okay. And then the order would remain the same otherwise with, I believe, the prior fine amount. Vera, you had it on your slide, your last slide, I think.
The lien amount is actually incorrect on my presentation.
No, but the per day amount, 150.
Yes, that was the order, yes.
That would stay the same. So it would just be a extension of my prior order that was dated February 12th, 2024, that order, the compliance date will be extended to April 10th at 8 a.m. Yeah, it was a February 8th meeting. Oh, not pro-tunc, yes, back to February 8th. Thank you. And so I will extend, and you are to remove anything that's not affixed from the property, or the fine of $150 a day will revert back to the original compliance date of February 7th, 2024.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Madam Magistrate, I don't know if my PowerPoint was submitted in for electronic.
Okay, do you have any objections to the PowerPoint being submitted?
We have no objection to the PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's all the cases for today. I'm sorry. Yeah. The minutes from the February 8th, 2024 meeting are approved, and I will set the next code enforcement meeting for April 11th, 2024 at 1:30. Thank you.